will be 100% honest. It took them so long to fix this bug and didn't acknowledge it at all that I actually thought that they thought, hey, maybe we just let this be in the game and we let it be this cool thing that people can pre-buff with. Like legit. Like it was literally in the game so much that I actually felt that the developers were like, yeah, there's no way that they don't know about it, right? Or haven't actually talked about it at all. No, I just was like, oh, well, maybe they think it's just like an addition, like a happy bug, you know? I don't know, dude.
Ooh, crossbow.
KR didn't know about this until NA. That's because KR players are terrible at MMORPGs. I said this before. They're literally the worst. This is Pansy exposing cheaters in Throne and Liberty. Supposedly, Supple, Take Care, Fury, Bricked, and more. Oh boy. Oh boy. Does everyone have the report cards ready for this one? We're about to catch people in 4K. Dear, not Grenton. Enjoy your ban.
Needless to say, Throne and Liberty.
I will say this about the Throne and Liberty community. For some reason, the default immediately is to just say people are cheating. Every time. Losing, cheating. Cheaters, botting, cheaters, cheater, pumpkin eater. Okay, every time. I don't understand what it is. Jumping golem is jumping, cheating. Cheating.
He's been on a steep decline as of late, and there are many reasons we can point out. But the one reason that I want to point out in this video,
I don't even feel like this is really that big of a decline. I'll be honest with you. The game's been out over 3 months. They're still peaking out at 51,000 players. It's pretty good. 34,000 players playing right now. Still pretty good. Where are we at now? I don't know when this was made. Steam charts. I need Steam charts for Throne and Libtard. Let's see. Yeah, dude, we're still peaking at like 53K, 34K. Wait, when did he make this? 6 days ago. So this is a week ago, and it's got exactly the same stats it had a week ago. That's really good. That's really, really good. And I think that they could get a lot of people to come back and encourage a lot more player retention if they just do what I mentioned in the last video.
And there are many reasons we can point out, but the one reason that I want to point out in this video is one that I find very important that isn't getting enough screen time. Exploit. Eridus hatred buff. Eridus hatred buff. Eridus hatred buff. Eridus hatred buff.
My God, Pansy, you did not clickbait everybody with a Eridus video. What are we talking about? This isn't... Okay, all right, guys. At a certain point in a game, all right, you have to point the finger at the developers. All right? At a certain point, is it the player's fault if the developers just allow it to stay in the game permanently? Right? I think that a lot of players are just, they felt like they were required to use the Eridus buff because everybody else was already using it. They're like, well, now I feel like I have to do it too until they fix it. And I'm pretty sure that they just fixed it with a hot fix like yesterday.
It's fine, but I know NCSoft. I played Aeon since release, and
they removed it in KR on Friday, so it hasn't been removed for us yet.
The years, and that game had very powerful third-party tools. For $5 a month, you get all the hacks, radar hacks, attack speed.
Do I see the first, second, and fourth place guilds in this video? Press W is the only honest guild. Buddy, you think that a guild that spent $250,000 US collectively on the game didn't have a single player in it that did something dishonest, or maybe piloted, had someone else playing for them, or maybe they bought a bot account? You're crazy. You're crazy. All competitive guilds have cheaters in them. No exceptions. None. Okay? You look over at BDO, Show Nation, Digital, Corrupt, Barcode. It's all the same shit. Everybody's piloting. Okay? Not everyone, but like, there's cheaters in every guild. It is what it is. That's why he's got the guild names here at the top of the video. Look. That's why he's got the guild name. Look at that. It's almost like you can't literally stop everybody.
Speed hack, teleportation, even a bot.
Yeah, let's also not forget that wasn't press W the ones, see, and this is why you don't open your mouth. I know that you were memeing, but see, this is why I love my community, because you meme and then I just shit on you for it. Weren't you the guild that rallied 12 guilds against? So again, the Eridus buff, and you're calling it an exploit because it's something that the developers did not intend to happen, right? But players are using it anyway. So what would you say is the problem if only 4 guilds are supposed to defend a castle, but say maybe Soviet allies 12 to 15 guilds to defend the castle? Do you think that the developers intended that? Do you think that that was intentional? No. Or were you exploiting? No. And I said that at the time. Winners win. It is what it is. Okay? Winners win. The artist buff, okay? Was this unintended? Sure. But this is something the developers should have just fixed right away. And the fact that they weren't fixing it and the whole community knew about it, at a certain point, you're just like, okay, well, you have to pick up an artist staff and use it because everyone else is until they fix it, right? I don't put this on the players. I don't. It's not the players' fault. It's the guild, or I mean, it's the developers' fault, right? Players want to win, right? And if they have to ally 8 guilds with them to defend the castle so that they have 12 total on their side, winners win, man. It is what it is. I didn't fault Soviet for that. Winners win. But is it an intended mechanic by the developer? Absolutely not. So you're going to call that an exploit? Stop.
Farm capability built into one, and they could not stop it. They did not stop it for over a decade. It's those things have been going on, and NCSoft, $1 billion company, never stopped it.
2 billion.
And I worry about Throne of Liberty's fate because this exploit that's been going on and that players have been abusing knowingly should be a relatively easy thing to fix. The exploit I'm talking about is the Eritis bug. The Eritis staff is a boss weapon that's pretty powerful. It has a powerful passive buff that if you stand still for 3 seconds, it gives you 30 bonus damage. And if you move, after 2 seconds, it falls off and you can reapply it by standing still. However, with this bug, you can
Bug, not exploit.
snapshot it so it stays on. Then it can go a step further. You can switch weapons after you snapshot it, and even if you're not a staff player, you can still abuse this bug. And that makes it so deadly, especially now with a new weapon like Spear, which does so much damage, with bows being so crazy and large scale, flash waving entire groups of people. It just
Holy
makes
shit,
the damage
bro.
even more deadly in this game. It's already off the charts where it's really difficult to survive. And now on top of that, we got an exploit like this, which is so simple to do and so accessible for players. And in my opinion,
Blue's going to be a $2 billion company soon with those tourneys? God, I hope so. God, I hope so, because otherwise I'm broke. Y'all don't even know. Yeah, I'm thinking I might run a 12v12 next. And then potentially even do EU for like EU best in guild and then run an NA best or 12v12.
should be very easy for them to stop at the very least.
Pansy's a crybaby bitch. No, Pansy's bringing up an excellent point. I think that his primary point here is that they have not made this bug a priority, and it's destroying a lot of PvP. And I'll be clear, I don't care. This is not getting people to quit the game. Should they have fixed this bug sooner? Yes. There's so many other issues. You have a great game. If you don't immediately break alliances, have conflict bosses, and double the loot, make contracts actually interesting and entertaining to do. Okay, lighten the load on the casual gamer, but increase the fun in the grind, right? Again, there's ways to introduce PvP very naturally to the daily grind of Throne of Liberty while allowing a casual player to win against even a hardcore like guild, right? Like again, with the contract thing that I said, you could have a boss spawn that is a conflict boss like randomly during their contracts, and they could compete for it, right? But they're not going to be zerged by that guild. Or by like a PvP guild because they don't know that it's spawned, right? It's only like an area thing, right? That would be fun. It would increase the value that contracts actually give to players, and it would break up the monotony with which we do contracts, right? And that's just contracts. There's other ways that you can make dungeons fun too. Like dungeons could be more fun too, although I'll be honest with you, I think they've gone way too hard on how grindy they're making dungeons. I think that the focus... They keep going towards like the instanced dungeons for like focus, right? Dimensional trials, tier 5 dungeons, tier 2 dungeons, like all of this shit. When I would love to see them move towards open world dungeons as a focus, right? Like I think that open world dungeons are the most fun version. I think that they would be more fun and a much more meaningful grind. Like I do not think that like the instance dungeons, they're fun, but I think making people grind them so much, it's just It's unfun. It's not as fun.
Brothers, change the number from 30 to 0. Come back from vacation in a few weeks, then fix it. You just leave it out in the open for people to rampantly use and abuse. Like, come on. Now, I'm on a server called Zeroth, and it is a very active server. It's insanely competitive. Every world boss is popping with PvP. Every nighttime cycle is so packed with PvP. And I love the server for what it is. But when you have that many people and it's that competitive, you're also going to get a lot more exploiters. In this video, I'm going to be calling out the ones.
This doesn't look competitive. This looks like you're fighting 1, 2, 3, 4 people. And your alliance is heavily winning if you look at the minimap. I wouldn't say that necessarily looks like a crazy amount of fun for everyone that's not in your alliance.
People and is that competitive, you're also going to get a lot more exploiters. In this video, I'm going to
there's not a lot of enemies there.
I'm going to be calling out the ones that I found in game, and
that's not Zeroth. Well, then why would he talk about it? Well, no, it was Zeroth. Gorga was there. That's not Gorga.
A lot of them, like literally 1 in every 15 players I click on, exploiting. And it's probably even more because some people are smart enough to hide their weapon, while some others not very much so. But even if they hide their weapon, you can still tell that they're exploiting. So if someone is doing the Eridus bug, you'll see the Eridus buff icon on their status bar. If they have a staff weapon, you can hover your mouse over the staff icon and see what weapon they
Isn't he in the Sepul Alliance? Sepul Phoenix. Creamy. Got him.
have equipped. And if they have it hidden, you can wait till they move. If they move around in 2 seconds, that buff doesn't drop off. And if they're moving around, if like a passive like asceticism is still active, you know they snapshotted and used the exploit. And others are even more brazen. They'll sit in town like literally.
This is why during the tournament, I was like, guys, you can't just count on me clicking on people during a match to know if they're artist bug abusing. So the way that I did it, and the way that it was a permaban for the tournament, and I know that it wasn't used basically like literally at all in the tournament, is because I said you should record your end of every fight. Every player should record their end. And if you see an enemy guild exploiting at all with that bug, I will disqualify that guild from the tournament. So I just pit the guilds against each other. Easy. Then I don't necessarily have to manage it every time. They'll catch each other, and then I just DQ people. Easy. What is up, guys? Brief intermission here to say that my first official merch has been released, and it's a Basil plushie. Oh, it's Basil. He's in a tuxedo. It's so cute. If you find my videos entertaining, fun, or informative at all, if you're watching a guide, is to support it with the Basil plushie. Links in the video description. It's only available for the next few days, so check it out, guys. Thanks so much. Back to the video.
Stone guard,
all done.
A spear dagger and an Eridus buff. Bro, how much more obvious do you have to be? You'll see one guy's wearing double arc boss weapons. Neither of
Killord Supreme, thanks for the prime sub, buddy.
Those weapons are an Eridus staff sitting there with the buff and also macroing healing touch. Like it's wild that people think there's no repercussion because
macroing healing touch. What? How do you macro healing touch? What is he talking about? Like healing touch just goes off on its own? How does that work? How does that even help you? Pressing a button is a macro? I don't know. You can't really macro. It's only one button. Like I use healing touch. That's my weapon he's talking about right there. Like, wait, what? That's my one. I don't know how you macro it. I have it macroed to my mouse button. Am I exploiting? Because you can stack healing touch? With what? What, another healing touch? Like, I guess the only macro I could think of is maybe it automatically targets the lowest party member in range and it goes off automatically. It's like a bot script, but I wouldn't necessarily call that a macro, right?
You know, likely AGS probably isn't going to do anything to them. And personally, I don't want these players to get banned.
Auto press? I'm going to be honest with you. You're like, oh, it auto presses so it goes off 3 times without having you press the button. That's just bad healing. I would argue that those players are just, they're so bad. They're not even, like, that doesn't even help you. Because any good healer knows that it has 3 charges. And if you switch targets fast enough, you can actually use the charges on different people. So, like, sometimes you only need to use 2 charges on one guy, and then you flip to the other guy and you use the last charge. Like, you don't want it to do that.
I mean, it sucks when you lose your account, and it's something that everyone's able to do so easily, and it's so rampant, and everyone's already doing it, and they just send it. Like, as long as they fix it, I'm happy. That's enough for me. But you know, it is so,
That's swift healing, not healing touch, but he said healing touch.
so common that even
Oh no, he said okay. Yeah, I'm thinking of swift healing. Which one's healing touch then? Hold on. Which one is healing touch then? Because that's not. Hold on. The regen thing. Oh, the bow skill. Okay, yeah, you could macro that. Yeah, you could technically macro that, but like, is that even like what? How? I'm sure, but you're just like
our guild officer
you
was
get three
like
stacks, yeah.
before Bellendir piece, they're like, everyone activate your Aridus buff. We need to.
I just want to point out that what? Amplify, that's my homie from Reassembled, by the way. This is a homie from Reassembled, by the way. I don't know who the fuck this is. But like, that's an Ethereum guy, right?
To secure them arc boss weapons. I'm sure they were
There's
joking
Slovak,
or something.
Draco. I don't know what guild this is.
Anyone who reads it and isn't in comms, I wasn't in comms, they would think they're serious. Anyway, I'm not in that guild anymore for other reasons, but let's go through the
Wait, whoa, what's the T? Wait, what's the T? Why is Pansy not in what, either supple, take care, or like with the other Ethereum people in like take care bears?
footage I have of all the people that I found doing
Who's
this.
TC?
And we'll close it out after. You'll see there's a lot of people, and
It imploded. Well,
very-
that I'm aware of, but like he said he wasn't with like that group of players, or he said it wasn't in that guild, but the way he said it, he's like, I'm not with those people for other reasons. Like there's some T.
barely even a fraction of the player base I've been able to ID. Yo, actually check out this bug abuser. What guild is this? 9 to 5. This guy's literally
Oh shit, didn't Supple just pick them up? Or wait, no, is that TC? That guy's in the TC Alliance now, right? Oh man, that's cooked.
wearing a Bellendir staff. And look, he's got an Aridus buff. This is crazy. No shame. What is this guy's name? Breathe. And does he have a macro? He probably has a macro going, just spamming healing touch. Yeah, he probably.
That is sus. It's a little, I mean, it is a little strange that you're standing here just casting healing touch on repeat. That is a little odd. Razer software, bro. Nope. Anything that is a timed, like it goes off on a timer and it's just casting on auto for you, is definitely against terms of service. Macroing buttons to your mouse, not against terms of service, or even to certain parts of your keyboard, it's not against terms of service. But if it's auto pressing buttons for you, I'm pretty sure that that's against the rules. Now, granted, this guy could just be standing here spamming. I can't tell you how many times I just sat there spam my skills. All right, he could be innocent, but this is kind of sussy.
Macro. He probably has a macro going, just spamming.
And that kind of sus.
Healing touch. Yeah, he probably has a macro. What an abuser. That's the state of the game. There you go. Here is another one. Let's see who this is. This is
State of the game. No, this is the state of the top 1% of players that are just trying to sweat, omega sweat, to get ahead. I don't even know if anybody quit the game because of the Aridus buff. Most people quit the game for other reasons, like I mentioned before.
Care Panda. They're clearly wearing a Bellendir staff. Let's see their build. It's a staff bow. They're wearing bow. They're wearing a Bellendir staff. But uh-oh, look at this. Aridus is hatred. How do they get that? Here's another one. This is Almond.
Prismic, that's me, Blue. Well, caught the out of my chat. You cheating rat. Mods, you might want to unban him in about 5 minutes.
From Take Care Panda. Beer Greatsword. Why the hell does he have Aridus Hatred's buff? This is even worse. He doesn't even use a staff. My
Bro, if I banned everybody that had Aridus buff running, I would literally have like 200 viewers.
God. Here's another.
Like, that's the sad truth, is I feel like that everybody that was like going super hard on the game and was like a top 1%er, everyone was using it, which is why, again, I point the finger at the developers, because at that point the problem is so widespread. I think it's a developer problem, like truly. They and that's what Pansy said at the start.
Another brazen one. This guy's name is
Somebody unban Prismic.
Lucky with a 3 from Sticks with Sticks. Sorry.
How many mods here?
wearing
Yeah,
a
you
crossbow
got another minute.
and a
Thank
bow. He has an Eridus hatred buff.
Lucky!
I wonder how. Exploit. Well, let's take a look at this guy. He's a SNS greatsword.
Another filthy take care member. Disgusting. Cheaters. Chat's over here. That's my boy, baby. Proud of you, buddy. Let's.
From Take Care Panda named Pomona. Look at that. Eridus hatred buff. I wonder what's going on here. Here's another brazen one. This one's named Dahood from Swipe Credit. We see
The worst part about this video is that, like, the big guilds watching this video are not looking at this, be like, God, these exploiters. They're looking at this to know who in their guild is actually doing what they told them to do. Like, oh, thank God, these are the people that we keep because they can follow directions. That's like that. It's like, okay, yeah, that they're doing what they're like, bro, they're pre-buffing correctly, you know, like that's how they see it. Like, bro, it would be like clicking on all of your guild members to make sure they're all like double food buff during siege. Right? Like that's basically what this is. The same equivalent.
the spear dagger, but he has an Eridus hatred buff. No, not from my last guild. Draco, shame on you. Spear dagger, Eridus.
I can tell you right now, no one in Reassembled is abusing Eridus bug. You know how I know? I'm the only one online. And I'm not abusing it. So no one in my guild is abusing this bug. Okay, we are clean. No exploiters in my guild. The f out of here with that shit. Got me, get it twisted.
hatred
And what are you doing right now in Game Blue? Oh, I don't play the game.
buff. Come on, man. Be better. Oh,
I mean, you actually
I
have
do
to show
wanna
up
play the
and
game.
get one first.
It's true.
Dot.
I do. Yeah, I haven't actually gone to a conflict boss. It's true. Yeah. What a good guild leader. Yeah, I'm not even the guild leader. It's fine. That's Lucy. That being said, Skywalker's is from BDO. You know that guy's. He's got the Eridus buff. If Skywalker's didn't have the Eridus buff, I would be surprised. There's just ain't no way. All the BDO players got that. Ain't no way.
found another ding dong. This one's from Fury. Skywalkers.
Yeah, Fury. Yeah.
Wearing a Talus staff, we can clearly see.
That guy's
staff
an
bow,
absolute
but he
Giga
has
Chad
an Eridus
BBR.
hatred buff. This one is named True. He's from Visa, and he is a bow.
If you're not using bugs when they're active, then you're a bot. They're not using bugs when they're active, they're a bot. No, these people are right before a boss spawns. Yeah, they're Eridus buffing so that they can pre-buff properly. They consider it like a pre-buff before the boss. And to be clear, I will be 100% honest. It took them so long to fix this bug and didn't acknowledge it at all that I actually thought that they thought, hey, maybe we just let this be in the game and we let it be this cool thing that people can pre-buff with. Like legit. Like it was literally in the game so much that I actually felt that the developers were like, yeah, there's no way that they don't know about it, right? Or haven't actually talked about it at all. No, I just was like, oh, well, maybe they think it's just like an addition, like a happy bug, you know? I don't know, dude.
Ooh, crossbow.
KR didn't know about this until NA. That's because KR players are terrible at MMORPGs. I said this before. They're literally the worst. Again, these KR players, they're playing League of Legends. It's like they've got 15 fingers and like infinite IQ. Okay. They get on to an MMORPG, it's cooked. It's like they're smashing their head against the keyboard and they have no idea what the fuck to do. It's like they broke themselves. They're terrible at the game. KR has always been terrible at the game. And I know this because I'm fairly certain that if we did a cross server between BDO and like if the NA or the EU PvP scene fought the Korean PvP scene in like a cross server event, the NA and the EU would both beat Korea, and Korea had the game for 2 years longer than North America did and EU. Okay. They had the game for literally 2 years longer than us, and we would mop them on the floor. Okay. It would be disgusting. It wouldn't even be close.
Would a Eridus hate?
And I think that, I'll be honest with you, once we catch up to them in content, I think it's going to be the same thing. I think that NA and EU will absolutely dumpster Korea in PvP once we've caught up.
Good buff. Oh, Stubble Phoenix is a Temper bow staff with a Tublick staff. Lame. And he has an Eridus hatred
Temper!
buff. If you have an Eridus
Temper! Somebody tell Temper he's getting a raise. He's got his Eridus buff on.
Staff, just use the air def staff. What's wrong with that? Come on. This one is from Synhedron. Blue Hornet, Bow Wand. Aridus Hatred buff. Ain't no way, you ain't. I know you're hiding your shit. I know you got double arc claws. Don't even start. All right, the first clip wasn't fair. Let's just watch him run around and never lose this buff.
Crunk God right there. I guarantee you Crunk God's got it going. There's no way that show
the attack speed buff.
There's Bobby. Don't click on Bobby. Don't click on Bobby. Don't click on Bobby. There's no way.
He doesn't lose this one, so just saying. Just saying. Oh, we're in Dominion. They hide your names, guys.
Bobby
so
might actually not have been running it because
totally
he's just a G.
safe to cheat right here. Look at this guy. Aridus Staff, Great Sword, SNS. Let's see who it is. Hey, yo, bro, kill me. Kill me. Everybody,
Well, you ain't
just kill
killing
me.
him, but
I wanna
not
see
with
who
that
this guy
damage,
is.
bro. You
Alright,
ain't-
let's see it. Let's see who this hero is. Be smart. He'll teleport away. All right, once he's out of range, it should reveal his name. Keep running, fool.
Is this what you have to do in Dominion to see people's names? What the
Take
fuck?
care, Bear Volt. Don't do that.
God damn it, Volt! Caught! Honestly, they're going to give Volt a raise. He's even using it. He's pre-buffing himself properly, even at Dominion events. He ain't even just using it for the other stuff.
Yeah, bro, that's
He's
cheating.
using it
Yo,
for
look at this. My
unimportant stuff.
teammate here is cheating. Yo, Daniel, where you at? I saw
This helps with dungeons and shit too, bro. Why you ain't got no dungeon POV shit?
that, bro.
Where the dungeon POV shit at?
Saw that. I totally saw
What
I
you mad? What you mad that your the other players in your dungeon are
See?
using?
Aridus buff. Dagger crossbow. Come on, Daniel. All right.
Daniel is
Obese? No.
definitely doing it. That is Mandu. I know that personally. There's no way he's not using
Brother, why? Aridus buff? Oh, dagger spear. Come on, obese. Ah, this guy again. Cottonmouth. I've seen him before. He'd get the destroyer buff
He's got it.
and
Yeah,
run
he's got it
around
on.
with the Aridus buff.
Yeah, he's got it
even
on.
though he's a freaking bow dagger.
it. Imagine doing dungeons. Pansy, is that why you put your icon over the top of this shit?
That's a bit overkill.
That way they can't see that you're not playing the game. I don't even hide it anymore.
Bro, you're already getting.
I want to start playing the game again, but I'm gonna make it fun. I'm literally intentionally gonna go into every single dungeon, tier 2 to tier 5, and then all the dimensional trials without doing any research or knowing the mechanics. I'm gonna be your nightmare fuel. I'm gonna be the person that you wake up in a cold sweat at night thinking about getting matched with in a dungeon. And I'm gonna do it live. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. Also, I'm gonna let chat fix my gear. I'm gonna spend like $400 or $500. Chat's gonna tell me what to buy. I'm just gonna do it, and we're gonna go in. You guys are gonna spend my money. You're gonna fix my build, okay?
Getting the Aridus buff. Pick one.
I'm not trolling the dungeons. I'm gonna give it all my all. I'm just not gonna know what the fuck I'm doing.
I have to do both. Man, this guy always has this buff running. He doesn't give up. Cottonmouth, go crazy.
Cottonmouth
Alright,
has
found
that
another one.
shit. Cottonmouth has that shit. He's running around Castleton, bro. He's running around like the siege
This
castle.
is Reshura from Corrupt.
He's just shopping.
Wearing a Talus staff, but Aridus buff. Ayo,
Corrupt
another Swipe
exploit?
credit member, Flan. Got a SNS great sword
Flan's
here
looking
with the
kinda cute, bro.
Aridus buff. You know, I thought it was a bit odd that I haven't seen too many supple folks doing it. I know I did. I caught one of the advisors X-dash to it, but I couldn't get a clip. Here we have Kiwi.
Supple's over here. Can you give us a list of exactly who you didn't see using it? So that we know who, of course, to congratulate on their quest for a new guild. You know?
HC.
Like, I'm just... Look, at a certain point, a bug becomes so widespread and everyone is using it. Again, it's on the developers. And Pansy alluded to that at the start of the video. I think he should have touched more on it. I don't put this on the players at all. This is actually a pretty accessible bug for most players. You just pick up an artist stuff and you just, you know, you're just off to the races, right? It's pretty usable by most players. And should it be in the game? Absolutely not. He's right about that. But like, everybody knows about it. Like,
Bow 1 with an air disc buff. I could have swore I saw this guy already. 9 to 5 breathe. Air
Yeah,
disc buff,
we've seen
bell
this guy, yeah.
staff, daggers. We got a
got
great
some
sword
cute pants, though,
dagger
on.
here. Macho Man? Yeah, Macho Man from Visa.
Or
Air
leg-
disc buff
leg
with a
warmers
great sword
going on there.
dagger. There you go. Another supple member. Supple Shinzu. Dagger bow. Air disc buff. Here's Screamy running around as well. I can't see their weapons and they're wearing skins, but you can tell by them moving around non-stop that the air disc buff is snapshotted. We got another one, Supple Oni. Name is Faint.
hey, Faint gets to stay in the guild.
Once again, running around. The
Faint-
buff does
Faint
not
can stay.
drop, even though it's supposed to drop after 2 seconds. Look at him. He doesn't even move. He doesn't even stop moving. He's just going back and forth. All right, Pine Enjoyer from Supple Oni. Also moving around.
B-Kill is standing directly in front of you. Yeah. Screw them exploiters. What idiots. Don't click on me.
There's no time for that air disc buff to reset. It should have dropped by now. So once again, thinking it might be snapshotted. This one is from Sinhedrin.
How's this buff cheating? Please explain. So essentially, through an unintended mechanic of the game, the thing's passive basically gives you a really big damage buff. It's supposed to be 2 seconds, but instead what people are doing is they're equipping it, and I think I forget exactly. I also don't want to explain exactly how it works. I do know how it works though, because somebody explained it to me. I'm not going to explain it. Essentially, they equip the staff, and then they do some stuff, and they equip another weapon, and the buff stays much longer than intended. Right? Much longer than intended. So you end up with a damage buff that is supposed to only be for 2 seconds that is on you all the time. So you're doing a lot more damage than you should. Thing is, the entire PvP community, at least the top end PvP community, knows about this, and so basically every member of every top PvP guild was using it. And no, it's not a good thing. They should have fixed it sooner. But it, honest to God, stayed in the game so long that I thought maybe the developers were like, yeah, no, we think it's a cool pre-buff, fun aspect of the game. It keeps Erida's staff relevant.
And
instead, what's about to happen is they're going to remove it from the game. It's already been removed in Korea. Apparently, it hasn't been removed for us. Instead, what's going to happen is they're going to remove it for us, and then Artis is going to tank to min price.
barcode name. He's been moving around.
Or people are just going to dissolve them. They're
non-stop, but it hasn't dropped yet. So look at him run in. Air disc buff still active. All right, we got Biggs, a spear dagger from Take Care Panda. With
crazy damage isn't even good for melee, only good for range. Oh, true. I personally think that spear is not profiting at all from these buffs. Am I right, boys? That's right. I think that all the melees collectively are not doing enough damage. With this buff, it's strictly a range problem. These bow users. Am I right, boys?
with the air disc buff, we got this Chinese character name guy from Supple with the air disc buff. As you know, he's been running non-stop. This should have fell off. This should have definitely fallen off. Yui from Swipe Credit, a crossbow.
True, spear does have range. You can chuck it.
Dagger with
True.
the air disc buff. We got a player named Hisori.
Hisori.
Dagger spear with the air disc buff. We got Supple Phoenix's Shinzu with the air disc buff.
Shinzu caught in 4K. So, Nikki, what would you say your job is around here? Homie just ran into the wall and is just standing there. Normally, I'd be like, oh, he's just trying to turn. No, he's just standing there. He's just staring at it. This is like some psycho. You walk into the room, they're just staring at a wall. You're like, you good, man?
Of dagger spear. Take Care Panda.
Using line of sight, do not give Nikki that much credit. Don't.
Supple Phoenix's Shinzu with the air disc buff. Dagger spear. Take Care Panda's Biggs spear dagger. Air disc buff. Like, isn't it wild? Like, how many people are doing this exploit? It's literally an exploit. Some of them don't even have a staff equipped.
It's wild that they're not being banned for it, right? Nope, it's not, because it's the developer's fault. Like, Pansy, what would you have them do? Do you want them all to be banned? Do you want everybody that exploited this to be banned? You want them permit? What do you want them to do? Okay, this would be like banning everybody in BDO because they have RuneScape graphics on for Siege. It's just not going to work. Okay, is it technically against? It's not intended by the developers? Sure, they're not going to ban people for this. Just fix it. Well, they should fix it, but that's not what you're saying in the video, though. You're deliberately calling people out, right? You deliberately call people out for this. You make it sound like it's the player's fault, not the dev. Right? That's the problem.
They're walking around with their weapon showing no staff, but have the Eridus buff. It's an exploit.
Of course they're going to use it.
And I'm there.
He's being a tattletale. We love tattletales. Without tattletales, I wouldn't have the full guild meeting. The full guild meeting that Take Care Bears had before they became Take Care Bears. I would not have the council meeting of Take Care Cobra before the finals match. I wouldn't have the supple meeting the night before the finals match. I wouldn't have any of these things. Okay, I need tattletales. Okay,
any more exploits in the
I
game.
need rats.
That people can abuse, and I'm sure some people do abuse it. This one is an easy to spot one. What's important, and one of the main reasons I'm making this video, is I want AGS to step in and stop it. It's a live service game.
It's not AGS. You're pointing the finger at the wrong people. There's developers, right? You have NCSoft develops and creates the game. Okay, their job is to develop and create the game. Oh. Okay, then you have the publisher. This is AGS, Amazon. Okay, their job is to publish the game, which means they are in charge of monetization in most cases. Okay, so they're in charge of monetization. They're in charge of when we get content. Okay, right? They're in charge of these things. They cannot fix bugs. Okay, that has to happen on the development team. Then the development team pushes it to Amazon. Amazon pushes it to us. Okay, that's how this works. All right, you need to you're pointing the finger at NCSoft in this case. I do not think Amazon can't just go and let. The only thing that Amazon could do to prevent this is to disable the staff. I'm fairly certain that AGS could disable Aridus altogether, which they don't want to do. But that's the only way that Amazon could be at fault for this.
Which, you know, I'm sure people were on vacation, but the game's been going on.
Blue's
People
bald
are playing
head
the
has a
game.
glare that is blinding me.
No. You want to say some stupid shit like that? I will feast your eyes. Okay? Don't say stupid shit if you don't want a stupid result.
Things are happening in the game. You guys got to be on top of this shit. Like, how difficult is it to disable or at least change the number on that Eridus buff from 30 to 0? Okay, I'm not a game developer.
No, because that just tanks Eridus. You don't want to punish people that actually, the 4 players that are actually using the Eridus staff, okay, because they think it's good and they're new to the game and they don't know any better. And it's like this really cool purple weapon. It's the first purple weapon they ever got. You don't want to punish those idiots, right? PvE staff. I mean, even in PvE, the tier 5 dungeons, you're moving, bro. You're moving around. It's not even a buff that you can really use.
I don't know how exactly that
But you're
works.
right. It can be just a PvE staff.
But literally any game, any major studio wouldn't let this happen. Wouldn't let an exploit this well known and this open for everyone to abuse be freely used for so long. Blizzard wouldn't let it happen. Even Pearl Abyss wouldn't let it happen.
Imagine game updates, tanking prices. Never seen it before. Nope. What do you mean by tanking prices? I mean like, on the marketplace? Well, I mean, it's like no one gives a shit about how much Eridus costs on the auction house. No one cares about that. However, yeah, every patch there's new auction house like changes for sure.
Like Nexon, Square Enix, ArenaNet, none of them would have let this happen. Like, it's...
Did you just say that Nexon wouldn't allow a bug to stay in their game? Honey, you're talking about a company that deliberately manipulated the percent of RNG on players that spent more money on the game. They artificially lowered their chances of getting items out of boxes because they spent more money, and they knew they would be more likely to spend more money because they didn't get the item they wanted out of the box. Okay? You're arguing ethics against a company that has no morals. That's not a bug. That's using... No, sweetie pumpkin. Your entire argument here is emotional. You're upset that this bug has been allowed into the game and that these players are playing in an unfair way, which implies that Throne and Liberty and NCSoft should feel bad that their game is being exploited. Okay? Do you think that Nexon feels bad when people exploit MapleStory unless it costs them money directly? No, they don't give a they don't care. All right? Like, they don't give a shit. They're a multi-billion-dollar company, especially a company like Nexon. They don't have morals. They don't care. In fact, I would argue that if the Eridus buff, the equivalent in MapleStory of the Eridus buff, you put that same bug into MapleStory, if it was somehow making Nexon money, Nexon would never fix it. Ever. For any reason, because it's making them money. It's just the truth. Okay? I think that NCSoft might. They might, right? Because Thorn and Liberty is the only game that actually makes them money right now. They're on the verge of bankruptcy and financial failure. The reason that they listen to us as players is because they have to. Because if we quit the game, they're... Oh, hell yes. Nexon are the people who have invisible GMs talking to endgame raids when something new comes out. Nexon is probably the most dishonest company that I can think of in terms of a game development company. And like, at least in 2024, we'll say for 2024. Is the game dying? No. Okay. Dead games are examples of dead games are the ones where the servers aren't live anymore. People say that Guild Wars 2 is dead. Guild Wars 2 is not dead. Guild Wars 2 has a very dedicated player base that always play it. People love Guild Wars 2. Okay. And you can't say that Throne and Liberty is dead if 50,000 people are logging into the game every day. Just stop.
It's wild to me.
Does the game have less players than it did a month ago? Sure. But again, it just released. So of course that's going to happen. It's leveling out at the players that, and he showed in this video, he showed like the player base dropped to like, it was like peaking at 53. And then it was like averaging at like 33, something like that. And then I pulled up the stats from today and it was exactly the same peak and exactly the same average, which is good. That means we're kind of leveling off here.
That it's so well known. There's a video with 30,000 views almost teaching you how to do all these things, and
true. WoW's been dying for 2 decades.
Unless Aegis takes a tough stand, we're gonna see this game belly flop harder than ever imagined. Like, it did way better than...
No. I think if the game will continue declining if they don't make big changes to the game. But the amount of people that actually care about the Eridus buff are zero. Okay. The hardcore PvPers that know about the buff are just using it. And are they frustrated with it? Yes. But they're not quitting the game because of the Eridus buff. The free-to-play players and all the players that just like don't like that are casual, they don't even know the buff exists. They're not quitting for that. They're quitting for other reasons. You need to look at the game objectively to understand why it's losing players. In this case, and again, I said it in the last video, it's losing players because the casual players, there's a big spectrum in a game. Okay. Now we're going to do drawing. Okay. There's a big spectrum in a game. All right. We're going to say at one end of the spectrum, you have the hardcore players. Okay. And at the other end of the spectrum, you have casual players. Put it down here so you guys can see it. All right. And then you have everyone in between. Right? For the casuals that play an hour a week, to the hardcore players that play more than a full-time job. All right? And you are trying, right now, Throne and Liberty appeals to those players. Everything to the right of that line. Okay? About 90% of the player base is kind of hung out to dry. It's not a very casual friendly game. It's not a PvE like super friendly game. And it does not feel to a normal player or an average player, the players that sit somewhere in here that play maybe 20 or less hours a week or 40 or less hours a week, doesn't feel to those players like the grind is meaningful or that the game is fun to them, right? They don't really give a about how long it takes them to get runes, as long as that grind is fun. Okay, you need to make that grind fun. Why are players not having fun in Throne and Liberty, right? Well, you need to look at the aspects of the game that should be fun that they're not experiencing. Okay, all right, well, what are casual players not experiencing about the game? Most of the time you look at your PvP systems. In this game, okay, well, why would an average player not want to PvP? Why would they be discouraged from PvP? And you could have the standard response, because I'm getting my ass beat, or because I'm a pussy, or because my balls haven't dropped yet. Yeah, all those people. We don't care about those people, okay? Because that's not the real reason that people quit over PvP. People quit over PvP because they have zero chance of winning. None. Okay? Players stop going to conflict bosses, not because they're losing. Plenty of alliances lose at conflict bosses. Players stop going to conflict bosses because there is zero chance that they will get anything. Okay? Or the chance is so low that it's not actually worth going. All right? And this is the case for most players on the server right now that aren't in this top 10%. If you're not in a hardcore guild, conflict bosses are not worth going to. That is not good because it's an integral part of the game. Okay? The same thing with the open world dungeons are extremely difficult to do. Although, honestly, open world dungeons, you should really just focus on making those a little bit better. You can do those during the day, right? But nighttime is when those dungeons get fun, right? And that's when you want people to experience those, because that's when it gets fun. Get good? No. Again, they need to appeal more to this 90% of these players. Okay. Why are players quitting this game? Because they don't feel like they can win or be competitive in PvP unless they're sweating their balls off. Okay. How do you bring this down? You have to remove alliances from the game. It's literally just that simple. Yeah. You. No more 4 guild alliances, no more 3 guild alliances, no more 2 guild alliances. Every guild is on their own. Every guild is on their own when they go to a conflict boss. And what that means is that the casuals and the average players who only want to bring 10 to 12 people to a conflict boss, right? Because they only have that many people online, or they're just grouped up with their homies and they're going out and they want to do some stuff, have a much higher chance of getting loot from a boss where not everyone is playing for the same team. Okay? Also, you half the amount of conflict bosses. So players don't feel like they need to be online literally all the time, every single day. Okay? And you just double the loot from the 2 conflict bosses that do spawn. You just double the loot from those bosses. Easy peasy. That way, casuals, again, are much more incentivized to go to these bosses because they've got twice as much loot as they had before, and there's not as hard of a Zerg trying to push them out. They can basically try to rat for loot or try to actually get involved, right? Like Siege is this way, right? You have a lot of guilds that are basically focused around the pillage points, trying to do pillage points and stuff. That's fun for casual players, right? There's a reason for just a normal PvX casual guild to get involved with Siege and Throne and Liberty. That is the pillage points. I would argue that pillage points should be buffed for this reason. You should buff pillage points pretty hard. And they need to jack up the amount of Lucent that is on a lot of these servers that doesn't have as many people. They need to just artificially add more Lucent. So that, again, there's more incentive for these players to go and like compete. But again, you need to encourage casual players and PvE players to get involved in the fun aspects of the game. And they need to feel like their grind is worth something. Right? Like they're grinding for something and they don't have to play necessarily super hardcore to get there. And as long as it's fun, they'll be fine. And again, contracts can also be spiced up. As I said before, you could basically just introduce bosses randomly that spawn. They're conflict bosses that spawn while people are doing contracts. Right? People have a chance that a boss will spawn. And if you have most contribution to that boss, you get an Eridus staff drop. Okay? Or you get I said Eridus because that's in the video, but you could get tier 3 runes. Right? You could get purple weapons, tier 2 armors, whatever, when it comes out. Like that would be fun, right? And it also introduces people into PvP in a way that is fair. Okay? They're not just walking into a conflict boss of 240 enemy allied players with absolutely zero chance of winning. No, this boss spawns and maybe there's 1 or 2 other people here, but they have reason to stay and compete for that little boss, for that elite boss that spawned during their contracts. Makes contracts more entertaining. It introduces people to PvP, and they're not necessarily getting zerged when it happens, right? It also means you have, again, a competition for resources. You could also make the focus of your game less on these instanced dungeons, which feel like a really long grind with randoms, and push them towards open world dungeons, which honestly force you to get in party with people, or, you go on your own to the open world dungeons, which, again, kind of pushes people into PvP a little bit more positively as well. So again, the game is declining because alliances are basically destroying it. If you're not in the top alliance on your server, you're getting basically nothing, right? And players just quit the game because they feel like they can't win anything. Their time is, and if they can't ever win for any reason, their time is not valuable. Their time is worth nothing if they can't ever win. You have to give players a chance to win. Okay, casual players, average players, they're not being given a chance to win at conflict bosses. All right, it's just the truth. You need to give them a chance at winning.
Than I expected. I honestly thought it was going to lose 90% of its player base within the first month, but it had
No, it's a great game. It's not going to lose 90% of it, but thank God it's a good game.
potential. Why drop the ball now? Like, we know they can take action and go through logs and figure things out from when they tackled our armed tiers and gave them negative loosen. I'm not asking for them to ban everybody.
Wait till the golem bug comes that used in KR hits NA. The rooftop guild summons ink. Well, if we don't have it right now, there's a good chance that they fix it before we get it. And even then, sure, whatever, right? That's fine. Whatever, as long as if they remove alliances from the game and it's just about your guild, number one, you get a stronger bond with your guild, right? You get a more accurate inclination as to who's showing up to stuff. By the way, in order to do this, they'd have to decrease the amount of people that are able to show up to Rifted Boonstones. Like, you'd have to cap Rifted Boonstones at like 40 players a piece. They happen 4 nights a week as far as I'm aware, which means that, like, again, 4 times a week, you can have like 50 people show up or 40 or 50 people show up for this boss, but you can't say 70 people 4 nights a week. That's not going to work either. So AGS, if you're listening to this and giving this feedback to NCSoft, if they're going to remove alliances from the game, you have to also decrease the amount of total people that are at Rifted Boonstones, because otherwise it's an all call at your Rifted Boonstone every single week. It will burn guilds out way too quickly. They have to bring it down to at least 50, probably 40 people. I would say 40 is fine. That's a little above 50% call for a guild, and I think that that's reasonable. 4 times a week for above 50% attendance is fine, right? And then you have siege every other week. It's fine. Like, I think that that would be fine. But like, if you have 70 people all man all call every single day 4 times a week, it's already too much. It's just too much. You can't do it.
At the very least, fix it.
48 like inter servers. 48 is a great number.
Now, of course, this is only on my server Zeroth on NA East early access. Let me know in the comment section down below how your server is doing.
I bet the other servers don't even know. Like, Eridus buff, nobody even knows.
And if people are openly exploiting
just the
this
top
bug,
end
and I really
PvPers.
hope that they do fix it. That's all I really want.
It's been hot fixed in
Anyway,
Korea
like,
as of the
comment,
making.
subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you guys
Bro,
next time.
Pansy
Peace.
makes some really good shit. I do respect his opinion on everything. In this case, I do think that he missed the nail a little bit, but he is absolutely right. The Eridus bug is a problem. They did know about it, and they addressed it. But again, like, when it's that widespread, I lay the problem at the developer's feet and not AGS in this case. There you go, guys. There's the video right there. Go interact with it. Go comment on it.